Brian S. said, I'm never calling him Shano. Get a better nickname. I think you got to be in the inner circle to call him Shano. Like, I don't think, Brian, you can call him Shano. I don't think I can call him Shano. I think Chris can.
Let's start it. Let's make it mainstream so everybody just knows. That's Shano, man.
Yo, 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 what's up? It's Chris Simms. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Connor Rogers is here. Shano is not here, okay? He is preparing for a kind of a big deal this Sunday called the Philadelphia Eagles. Sure, he's into that. Yeah, I noticed how day one people didn't really like when I said Shano, and then when we got on the Tuesday Live
That's
one,
all
everyone's
they
like,
said.
Shano's
the
awesome.
chat. Yeah,
They
you
like
called
Shano.
him Shanahan, and they responded to you saying
they're
it's
like, hey,
Shano.
it's Shano. Get it right here, right?
When was the last time he was on the pod?
It's been a while.
Right.
It has. We're due. And you know, I tried never to bother him too much, but he is cool in the fact of he'll be like, hey, you know, I haven't been on in a while.
That's
If you
nice.
need me, just let me know.
That's a
right?
good friend.
So yeah, he is good like
Here's
that.
the real issue. He's usually coaching deep into the NFL
definitely,
postseason.
definitely.
And that's the time a lot of coaches do media.
No doubt about it. No doubt. And it's funny. You know, I don't even know. We started calling him Shano. It went from there, right? We grew up in the era of Halo, right?
Yeah.
So in college, I mean, football practice was over. We're done. We've gone and eat dinner, right? It was like, are you coming to my dorm room? Or maybe in my senior year, I had an apartment. Where are we going to play Halo against each other, right? It was him, Bo Scaife is part of our crew, maybe Roy Williams, all that. We'd all play, right? And his nickname in that, off of Shano, was Shanomite, right? Shanomite. He was Shanomite. I was Simmsation.
Oh, this is great.
And that's how we went at it. So, yeah, like I'd kill him and I'd be like, eat it, Simmsation, dominates Shanomite. Yeah, these are our handles. When you die, it would say, like, you've been killed by Shanomite, right?
Dude, OG Xbox trash talk.
Yeah.
Kids nowadays could not survive it. It was a different era.
It
Let
is
me
a
say
different
that.
era, definitely. Yeah.
I love that. That's a good throwback. Listen, we're going to preview the wild card games. What's more likely for both conferences, and then 2025 playoff brackets, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I made one for this.
Good. You better
and
have.
just like you, I kind of looked at every game, and I'm like, I hate this.
It was
completely
really,
hate it.
really hard this year. The hardest ever. And I sit here and say it, and I'll say it when it comes up again. Don't bet on my bracket being right. I've never felt less confident about a bracket, actually, because it's just, there's some tough matchups. And like we said, all these teams, you know, some aren't playing at their best. Some have a flaw here or there. And that's where it's a little tougher than years past.
Well, let's jump into what's more likely. Starting on the AFC side of things, the number 6 Buffalo Bills on the bracket. They're up traveling to Jacksonville, who got the 3 seed. What's more likely? Trevor Lawrence throws for over 225 passing yards or under 200. He averaged 251 in his last 8 games. The Bills, we talk a lot about how much they struggle defending the run.
Yeah.
They're an NFL best 157 pass yards per game.
The Bills they play better man-to-man than I gave them credit for maybe in the mid part of the year. And in the second half of the year, they've shown the ability to lock some people down. And then we talk about with McDermott and his ability to drop people the right way and break down offenses and kind of, you know, and scout them to go, ooh, there's tendencies when this guy goes out, this guy goes in, whatever else there. But 225 is too low for me. Right?
Same.
So I think he's going over 225 here. This is an offense that has it all. They do. They got a great offensive play caller. One, they have 3 very good receivers who are tough to match up against, a tight end that's pretty damn good, and they can pass protect. Right? So within that, I'm not saying he's going to sit here and go for 350 or anything, but 225, I think for this offense and the way he's playing is a little too low for me right now.
I'm with you. I'd go over on this one. The next one, the Bills, Buffalo rushes for over 125 yards or under 100. The Bills, NFL best 160 rushing yards a game. Jacksonville, NFL best 86 rushing yards allowed per game. That's the number that matters more to me, Chris, why I'm going to go under 100.
You're going to go under. I know.
Yeah. I love Jacksonville's front.
I do too. The only thing I think that gives me a little bit of like, oh, I'm not sure, is like Josh Allen scrambling.
It's a great point.
But I do think they have 2 guys on the edge here where he's not going to be able to make magic happen a whole lot. I think I'm going to join you in the under, right? I think this is a game where if Buffalo goes off, I think it's going to have to be with the throwing and Josh Allen.
That's how I look at it.
That's what I do too.
They don't They don't want to let you run the ball.
No, they're not going to let you run the ball. It's Anthony Campanile, defensive coordinator, meathead from North Jersey, and meatheads from North Jersey don't like being bullied, okay? So they're like, that's the last thing that's going to happen here, right? So that's the way I look at it. We'll see. But there's a part of me that I'm not so sure this might not be my favorite game of the weekend.
It's mine.
It is yours.
Yeah, it has the highest point total by a big margin.
Does it really?
Yeah, 52.5.
I haven't even looked at that stuff yet.
I think
right.
by almost 6.5 points, it's the highest point total.
What's the spread right now? Where are we at?
Let's take a look.
Roughly, like
last I look, it was kind of
Jags by 2.
It was bouncing back and forth between
1.5.
pick. Let's see. Today it is Bills favored by 1.5.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, that's interesting. All right, well we'll see where that goes there, but that is one of my favorite matchups of the weekend.
It's going to be awesome, and I believe the Bills have struggled on the road historically in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I know they've won a lot of home games in the playoffs, but I think historically they've struggled to travel.
Yeah,
so
well, unfortunately, they always end up going to Kansas City, so a lot of people struggle when they travel
makes
there.
Makes sense. The Chargers, the 7th seed on this side of the bracket, they go to New England, of course, the 2 seed. What's more likely, this on the New England side, Drake Maye has 3 touchdown passes or 2 interceptions. He's thrown 8 interceptions this year. Never more than 1 in a game, though.
Yeah.
The Chargers have allowed 16 touchdown passes. That is the 3rd fewest in the NFL, Jesse Minter's defense.
Right.
Never more than 2 in a game.
It's a good job here by Pete Demolitis. He made it hard. I don't see 3+ touchdown passes happening. So if you're going to make me, not to say I really see 2 interceptions happening, but if you're going to make me pick one or the other, I'm going to pick the 2 interceptions. To me, this is a game here where I know we're going to show my bracket and everything else, but I'm still not sure, even within my bracket, if I feel comfortable with who I pick. I do think the Chargers match up with New England, like we talked about a little bit yesterday, right? In that it's not a great, awesome pass rush by the Patriots.
Right.
We know that's kind of the kryptonite of the Chargers offense there. Okay, they got a defensive mind that I think can match wits with Josh McDaniel. I do think the Chargers are going to be a little bit like, we're sick of this playoff losing crap.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert has shown the ability to will his team to win this year. Harbaugh, I think, is made for playoff football and doing that as well, right? So, you'll see who I pick in my bracket, but again, it's one of those where I'm like, I'm usually like, I pick it. But this is one where I go, I pick it, and there's a part of me that, like, maybe Saturday I change my mind. I don't know, because I think it's that close of a matchup.
I'm just as torn as you. On Fantasy Football Happy Hour, we have to give out 1 game early. I like the Chargers spread.
Yeah.
3.5 points is a lot for 2 even-ish teams. But I like New England to win. So it's like, I don't know. It's so close. For this one, same thing. I'm going to go with the 2 interceptions because maybe he throws one in the first half and then maybe you get a tip or a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
It's just the bigger point is the Chargers, they have not allowed a guy to have that 3+ touchdown game consistently at all.
They don't let many people go off in the passing game in general.
So for the Chargers side, what's more likely? They have 2 touchdowns from the red zone or 0.
Ooh.
The Chargers scores touchdowns on only 47.4% of their red zone drives. That's 4th worst in the NFL.
I know.
New England, though,
right?
We've talked about this for all the greatness in New England this year. They allow touchdowns on 67.5% of red zone drives. That's the 3rd worst in the NFL.
It's crazy, really. The Patriots are a top 10 defense. You would think this would be historically Belichick. You don't score touchdowns on those kind of defenses, but yeah. This has been an issue for them all year long. If you're gonna, I'm gonna go with the 2 TDs from the red zone here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be 0. And again, I think with the playoffs being here, bring out a few new wrinkles and plays, and then Justin Herbert being on his A game, I'll bet on that more than the Patriots defense being able to shut them out.
We agree on this one, and my line of thinking is I think Herbert will be more willing to run than ever in the red zone.
Right.
Like an absolute lunatic if he has to. And if he gets smashed at the goal line, I think this is what it's all for.
Yeah.
Like this dude has not won a playoff game.
Right.
He's sick and tired of this. And they got to find a way, even if it hasn't been pretty. But these are really good from P. They're really tight.
Yeah.
The Texans, the 5 seed, they're at the Steelers, the 4 seed. What's more likely? Aaron Rodgers has over 8 air yards per pass attempt or under 7. Rodgers has an NFL low 6 air yards per pass attempt this season. But he had 8.8 in the 4th quarter versus the Ravens Sunday. Did he bring back some of the magic?
No. Like, what? This is the Houston Texans. He's going to be rattly as shit back there. He knew that the Ravens couldn't get there. He was like, this is great. They got no pass rushers. I can't get hit. And damn, they're not that great in the secondary either. You know? So I joke with that, right? I mean, and again, he's having a year where he's throwing the ball historically short. I mean, historically.
Yep.
Right? I mean, we kind of laughed about it last week.
I've almost never seen anything like
right.
this.
Since 2010, out of 450 quarterbacks, right, he throws the ball shorter than any of the 450. That's how dink and dunk it is. Now, I'll say this just to, and I'm obviously going under, but short passing game against the Houston Texans might not be the worst thing in the world. This is where I give them a fighting chance. Anybody that knows you play these teams that are rooted in the Seattle scheme, like D'Amico Ryans and Matt Burke, the D coordinator there in the Houston, right? And it is about, usually it's a good pass rush, right? So it's about trying to find little ways to expose their zones, their matchup zones. And really, a lot of the ways to do that is, you got to flood those zones. People might say second man through, third man through, whatever. But you got to have some of that. And it's really got to be like slow death. 5 yards here, 4 yards here, 5 yards here. The problem with Houston is, unlike most Seattle scheme teams, they can play man-to-man really good, right? So I think they're also a team that looks at it and goes, wait, you're going to do this to us. We'll lock your ass up then, right? We'll put Derek Stingley on DK Metcalf, and we'll take our chances that he can hold it down from there. So, I'll go under here, but just trying to say that maybe the short passing game is not the worst thing for this matchup.
Yeah, no surprise we're eye to eye on this one. It's just that's what the season has been.
Yes,
and DK Metcalf being back is the reason you could talk yourself into the over on this, because maybe he takes a couple shots down the field to him.
Exactly right.
I'm with you, Chris. That's not a good idea in this game, because that's how Houston will create turnovers.
That's where I was like, you're right. You're making the point too. Like if it's short passing game, you take away Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter from getting strip sacks,
which is what they
and
want.
all the craziness.
Yes.
Right. That's exactly what they want.
All right. What's more likely? C.J. Stroud is sacked 3+ times or 0 from weeks 1 to 14. He was sacked 2.2 times per game. But he's been sacked just once in his last 4 games combined. The Steelers, they were 6th in the NFL with 48 sacks this season. I think it's more likely he gets sacked 3 times in this game.
I'm with you.
They're cooking.
They are cooking.
Highsmith.
They're cooking. I don't think I think they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit here to win the football game. Yes, they've been better. I think he's been better more than anything. They protected better, but I think he's also been aware that, hey, I don't have the greatest protection. I got a great defense. Let's just stay out of bad situations. I think he's been aware of all of that. But yeah, I'm with you. Watt back. Nick Herbig continues to really, impress me. I think Nick Herbig is awesome. I think Nick Herbig is a top-tier pass rusher in football, right? And then Alex Highsmith to go along with it. And, of course, he backs up Alex Highsmith, who's damn good, too. Don't get me wrong here. But, yeah, I don't think this is going to be a pretty football game by any stretch of the imagination. These are two teams that are rooted in just being efficient, and then we'll play defense behind that. I do think that C.J. Stroud will get sacked a few times in this game for sure.
And to the point about the previous 4 games, those have been against Arizona, Vegas, the Chargers, and the Colts.
Right.
There's some players on there, but team pass rush is not good from those teams.
Definitely not. That's exactly right.
So that's kind of helped him in that.
You're right. Good context to that.
Steelers are going to be a little different.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
All right, we're taking our first break. When we're back, we're doing the same thing for the NFC wildcards after this. What's more likely continues. We got the NFC wildcard preview to get through here. The Rams at the Panthers, the most lopsided spread on the slate. It's been around 10.5 points in favor of the Rams. What's more likely, Chris? Matthew Stafford throws 2 picks or Bryce Young throws 3 touchdowns. Stafford has had multiple interceptions twice this season. Of course, Week 13 against Carolina.
Right.
Week 17 against the Falcons. Strange how he played against this division. Bryce Young had 3 touchdowns in 4 games this season. I already know. Actually,
no, you don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's actually maybe let me walk that back.
You're right. This is a tough one. Also, and to the context of what you just talked about, he's thrown multiple interceptions twice this year. Carolina, Atlanta, like you said, the NFC South. How could that be? Blah blah blah. But let's add the context to that, Rick, because context does matter. E.J. Evero is from L.A. He knows that team. He coached with all of them. He coached with Raheem Morris.
Right.
He was in Tampa with me and Raheem Morris, right? So those are two people who have ideas of how McVay functions and knowing the offense and knowing a little bit of the tells and how they line up and the splits and, the route reading like we talk about. If this guy goes this way, usually another guy goes that way. That's where they have a little bit of an advantage here. I don't see Bryce Young throwing 3 touchdowns anyway.
Kind of what I figured.
Not
you
in
would
this
say.
game. I don't see that. So that's where, if anything happens, I could still see Matthew Stafford throwing 2 interceptions and winning the football game.
Right.
So I'll go with that here, even though that doesn't make me feel real good about picking the Rams to win the game. But Pete's an asshole and he's making us work on this one.
It's hard to go any other way just because of what the Rams defense has on the back. Like, I think Quentin Lake should be back in this game.
It sounds like he's going to be.
They've looked very different without him on the field.
Right.
So that's top of mind to me. And then I agree with you that it doesn't really maybe matter if Stafford. And I know Panthers fans are like, yes, it did. It mattered when we beat them last time. And I get it. But 10.5-point spread. I mean, the reason why you think he won't throw 2 picks is if the game lives up to the spread, that they're in control of it the whole time, and he's not airing it out.
And that he threw 2 picks the last time, and he's going to be like, wait, if I just don't do that, we win the game, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where we're at here. But, yeah, I guess I just don't see Bryce Young throwing 3 touchdowns. That's the biggest thing.
The Panthers side, what's more likely? Carolina rushes for over 125 yards or under 100. The Panthers average 116.3 this season. That's 19th in the NFL. They did rush for 164 in Week 13 against the Rams. Their last 8 games, 2 over 125, 5 under 100, which gives me the under 100. And I don't love the Rams' front against the run.
Yeah.
They're a little lighter. It's like really like Poona Ford and then a bunch of lighter pass rushers.
And they play chaos. They don't play, let's just hold it down.
No.
Here I am. Double team me. I can hold it, right? They play, let me shoot here. Let me shoot there. And if you have a good offensive line with a coach that knows how to teach it a little bit, he can teach them how to kind of combat and call the right plays against that type of stuff to where it can lead to some big plays.
But if you're the Rams, I'm not letting them have the run.
I hear you.
Bryce Young beat me in the playoffs. You're a 10.5-point underdog. If you do, tip my cap to you. Beat us twice this year.
Right.
So I'm going under 100.
You're gonna go. I'm gonna go over here.
Okay.
I'll go over. I don't think it'll be much more. Right. And I can kind of see it being like the running backs get like 102 yards rushing as a tandem, and then Bryce Young has just a few scrambles to get them over to like 135. I don't think it's going to be like, we just run it up the middle and dominate all game long. I don't expect that for
They've
the
done
reasons
that
you
to
said
some
that.
teams,
They definitely have, because they got some freaking road graders up there. That's for sure. But I do think you're right. I mean, the Rams are going to be a little bit more ready for it this time around.
The old school matchup, the 7th seed, the Packers, they get to travel to Chicago to take on the Bears. What's more likely? DJ Moore has over 50 receiving yards or under 25, and it's not that crazy. You might think it is, but he averages 40.1 on the season. He had 1 catch for -4 yards in Week 14 at Green Bay.
Yeah.
But, of course, we know the team high 5 catches for 97, including the game-winning touchdown in Week 16.
Yeah. I'm going to go over 50 here. This is a dicey one. Yeah, it's dicey, too, because the problem with DJ Moore is not necessarily him. Again, we know their offense is going through growing pains, and I think Luther Burden has taken some of the things that come to him, right?
Yep.
And then we're going to have, I think, Rome Odunze back this week, I think.
They've been so coy.
It has
to be
been
fair,
very
I think
coy.
they really don't know, but it's been a weird month.
Yes.
Month.
But I'll go over 50 here.
Okay.
I'll go over 50. I do think that he is... I'm going to trust that Ben Johnson knows how to dial up a few plays for him here to jumpstart the passing offense and game plan Jeff Hafley and that that defense of the Green Bay Packers.
So Caleb Williams was asked about Rome Odunze, and his exact words were, "It's going to be great. Excited to have him back."
Oh, okay. So that says that.
So that helps a little bit.
Right.
But I'm still like you, going over 50 because DJ Moore could do that in 2 plays.
Yeah.
And I love what I've seen from Luther Burden. But, man, under 25.
That's just too low.
That's not good for the Bears if that's, it's a really, really low number. All right, what's more likely for Jordan Love? He has over 10 air yards per pass attempt or under 8. He averaged 8.8 this season. He's like the anti-Rodgers, 4th highest in the NFL. He will chuck it down the field. 12.4 in Week 14 against the Bears. But just 5.8 in Week 16 at Chicago before he got knocked out of that game.
I know. This is... I'm going to go under.
Okay.
I'm going to go under. Not by much here, but I'm going to go under. I'm going to go under in one that The hard thing with Green Bay is just what is Jordan Love going to be? It's been a few weeks since we played, and then we're just going to go out there in a wild card round on the road and just light it up a little bit. I guess that's kind of what I look at, and then on top of that, I guess if I'm Chicago, I'd want to go a little bit like I'd take the approach, I think, of let me see them run the ball on us, really, before I start playing aggressive defenses and trying to man up with Christian Watson and Jaden Reed and letting them be one-on-one and do that. I would take that approach at first and don't let Jordan Love get hot early on in the football game. So I think that's where I'll go under 8.
I'm going to go over. I just think it's in his blood.
Yeah.
I think playoffs,
I hear you.
big feel.
Yeah.
Let's knock out the crowd.
He
with
goes
long
for
completion. Christian Watson, they are a different team when he's on the field.
Yep.
So I'm going to go over for Jordan Love. I just think it's in his DNA. Our last one here, Shano's Niners at Philadelphia, the 3 seed the Eagles. What's more likely, Niners style? Brock Purdy has 2+ touchdowns or 0. He has over 2 passing touchdowns a game this season. That's second in the NFL to Matthew Stafford, the 2.22. But the Eagles, they've allowed an NFL low 14 this year. Tuesday, we did the All-Pro team, who were 2 of the corners.
Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. That's right. I mean, Jalen Carter's back, kicking ass here again. Gosh, 2+ TD passes.
I'll tell you why I'm going to take the 2.
You're going to take the 2?
Yeah, I think Kittle and McCaffrey are the guys that catch the touchdowns.
I hear you. I think that's kind of where I lean too. I think a lot of this Eagles defense, and I think Vic Fangio, again, is another one of that short list guys that can match wits with Shanahan and what they do there. But yeah, I think they'll have enough little cute, creative ways. I just can't go 0. I'd be shocked if it's 0. I think that's the problem, right? And also within that, I don't know if I feel like the 49ers are just going to be able to get down to the 5 or 4 and go, we'll run it up the middle. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against this crew here.
Carter and Jordan
exactly.
Davis
So maybe it's a screen pass. Maybe it's something creative, regardless. A little shovel pass, whatever. But I think I'll go with the 2 TD passes too.
You bringing up Vic Fangio got my brain spinning.
Yeah.
Do you think Cooper DeJean covers Kittle in this game a little bit?
Ooh, I would not be shocked by that. Not at all. I mean, he can handle that. Cooper DeJean, to me, does better against the bigger slot guys and the tight ends than he does necessarily some of the jitterbug guys, right? That's not necessarily his cup of tea here. So I would not be shocked. And as we've seen from the Eagles, and we talked about this maybe week 4 or 5 a little bit, the Eagles this year, Vic Fangio this year has, I think, played way more man than he ever has in his career. Right. And so that has jumped out to me, and they haven't been afraid to blitz a little bit more too on top of that. So yeah, this is going to be Clash of the Titans right here between Vic Fangio and that defense, Shanahan and the 49ers and all they do. And the other side of the ball is going to be interesting too.
Well, here we go.
Yeah.
What's more likely for the Eagles? Saquon Barkley averages over or under 4 yards per carry this season. He only cleared this number 6 times this year.
I'm gonna go under. I think the 49ers will stop that. What I worry about with the 49ers usually, I don't think the Eagles running attack is as diverse as the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks and what we saw, and they ran the ball in the 49ers last week, right, have been we've been talking about it a lot. We've been saying for about 7 or 8 weeks, the Seahawks can run the ball pretty good. Seahawks can run the ball pretty good. Kubiak is rooted in the Shanahan run system. He's got a few tricks in his run game, right? I don't know if I feel that way about Philadelphia. So with that, Lane Johnson, maybe his first game back, and I think the 49ers look at it and go, wait, their passing game's dicey. Saquon Barkley running up the middle and gashing us for 15 or 20, that's scary. So I think they'll try to let's play run like we talk about a lot with the Eagles, and then we can find some ways within these run defenses to kind of protect ourselves against their very simple pass game.
It's crazy when you look at the games that he did it in. So the Giants,
right? The second time around, in Philadelphia, right?
That's right.
Right.
The Commanders,
yeah.
And then against the Chargers.
Chargers, right.
Which is maybe the more surprising one.
Yeah, well, the Chargers shut them down in the pass game completely, and I think they kind of played the angle of, we're not going to let A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith go off, and they were willing to let, Saquon get 4 or 5 here and there.
The Denver one is kind of dumb because he gets 6 carries.
Wow.
They lost. He had 6 carries for 30 yards. So it counts.
Yeah,
but
that
like,
doesn't
that's
really
not a good.
count.
That's not a good game.
Right.
And then the other 2, he went 12 for 58. The other Giants game. That was at the Giants game.
at Giants Stadium.
And then against the Bears, he went 13 of 56. So it's been a really ugly road.
Yes, it has.
So, yeah, I think I'm going to align with you, even though you look at the Niners on paper and you're like, how?
How, right.
But just they'll find a way.
I know.
Maybe my guy, Big Al Collins, will be the force in the
that's
middle.
right. Well, and that's what you get worried about with the 49ers is that they have to go all in to stop that to where they put their corners in some tough spots, and then it becomes, hey, slant to A.J. Brown or throw a jump ball to A.J. Brown, go route to A.J. Brown. You go, oh, crap, we're losing even though we're stopping the run, but we're having to, put so many eggs in the stop-the-run basket that we're just too vulnerable in the pass game.
And the injuries just keep coming. Tatum Bethune.
That was a crusher.
I mean,
that's a crusher.
It's insanity.
Unbelievable.
The rain cloud over this Niners defense, health-wise.
Right.
All right, let's take a look at a fun market from DraftKings. The most passing yards on Wild Card Weekend, Matthew Stafford. It actually surprises me he's the favorite because the spread would indicate they don't need to just air it out all day, but he is Matthew Stafford. So.
I can understand Stafford. The Drake Maye one, I want to go.
Did you watch Jesse
Have
Minter?
you watched the Chargers play defense? They don't let anybody go off in the pass game. I mean, nobody. I think the ones that I look at to me, more of the value in most pass yards is that damn AFC matchup between Trevor or Josh Allen.
Sure.
I can see one of those two going off. That'd be the one I'd look at. Right? And then after that, I might get down to that Bears
That's what I was
Packers
thinking.
matchup
Yep.
and go, well, those two freaks, like you just talked about,
They'll
Jordan can't help it.
No.
And Caleb really can't help it either. So those are the 4 that make the most sense to me there. I understand CJ Stroud a little bit. I just don't trust their offense and their pass protection all the way. But I could see them being able to attack the Steelers defense a little bit. I do see that. Again, I don't think the world of the Steelers defense. So that's an interesting one too. But I'm shocked by the Drake Maye just being the slam dunk number 2 pick there.
Yeah, I'm with you. In that game, the Texans and Steelers could be a total rock fight. I don't know if it's like drop back and throw it around the yard.
Right. I mean, if you could figure in Pittsburgh, that could be a 16-10 game. One of those kind of games. Right, exactly right.
All right, we're taking our last break. You've waited long enough. Who's winning the Super Bowl? Chris and I have our playoff brackets right after this. Semi-confident.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use promo code cornerback when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Bracket time. Our preseason Super Bowl predictions, Chris. Total from my Super Bowl prediction. Neither team made the playoffs. I had the Ravens over the Lions.
Well, I had the Ravens over the Eagles.
At least one team's in there.
Damn. I mean, that's brutal right there.
Oh my goodness.
I had the Texans and the Eagles in the Final Four at least, so that gives me a little love. I did have the Broncos as a number 2 seed. I like that right there. I had the Packers in. Of course, the Bucks, had LA as the 3 seed, had them getting upset by the Vikings. Holy crap. Yep, that was not the answer key right there. I have a new answer key. I ripped that up, and we got a new one to look at now. And I say this, and like I told you before, I think it's the hardest one I've ever had to do going into the playoffs. Hardest one ever. I really I looked at it, and it just I feel about as least confident about it. And it's usually I'm pretty hey, this is what I did. I'm happy with it, and we're gonna roll with it. Even with some of my wild card matchups, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm picking these on a Tuesday. I might change my mind on Friday. I'm not even sure. So that's where it's amazing, and I think that's why it's going to be an awesome playoffs here.
So I've gotten a peek of your bracket.
Yeah.
We see how this plays out. Ironically, I think almost
we're very similar.
Very, very similar.
Okay.
But I'm like you that as I was going through this, there's ones where I flip flop on just all the time. The wild card winners. This is one where I had a feeling we'd be eye to eye, and it's an anything can happen, but we both like Jacksonville over the Bills.
I think Jacksonville's a more complete team.
That's my argument.
Right.
Josh Allen can make it to the Super Bowl, and I'd be like, well, yeah, it's Josh Allen.
Right.
But I love the Jacksonville roster.
I think so, too. And then I think we've talked about a lot, right, when Buffalo has to worry about a team that can do both, right, can do both. wow, they can run it on us really well. And if we overcommit to the run, they can tear us up in the pass game too, or vice versa. We worry about stopping the pass. But they can tear us up in the run. That's what I don't love. And, as you said earlier in the show, I mean, Jacksonville's front's real. Jacksonville's front is real. They got 2 D tackles. They got some big, strong defense ends, and they got 2 of the better run-stopping linebackers in the sport in Aludicon and Devin Lloyd, my first team All-Pro linebacker. And then they got a thumping safety in Antonio Johnson, who's very Derwin James-ish, and he helps out in the run game too, to why you said nobody runs on Jacksonville really. And that's kind of the reasons right there. Meathead Anthony Campanile from North Jersey, he ain't going to get bullied. That's just not the way it works, right? So, yeah, I favor Jacksonville there.
Maybe the toughest game on this side to really predict.
I think so.
The Chargers now at New England.
I know.
This is the one that I have changed 20 times. And I finally just settled into, okay, I got to give New England a little credit here. They had a great season. Forget the schedule.
Right.
They should find a way to get it done. But I've never felt great about picking them over the
This
Chargers.
is the one I've been talking about where I go, I hold judgment, because I could be on Sunday Night Football and everybody go, wait, he picked the Patriots in the bracket, and I might have 3 or 4 more days here to kind of just digest it all, and I might change my mind. So just so you know out there. But I'm taking the Patriots as we sit here right now, but I have concerns. I mean, one, like we've talked about, I think this is a Chargers team that, 1, is going to be fresh, didn't play last week. 2, is a little sick of we lose the playoff games, all of that. Justin Herbert's going to be motivated by that. Herbert's had probably his best year of his career. He's ready to take over. Can the Patriots pass rush really dominate the game like we've seen other teams do against the Chargers, right? I don't know about that. I don't know if Drake Maye is going to be able to find people open down the field all game long against this secondary, right? This is the first time the Patriots are in it. Thing like this, can their youngness and immaturity kind of show up, right? I think there's that possibility too. And then as we discussed, I mean, the Patriots have an all-time easy record. It's not just an easy schedule this year. It's one of the easiest schedules of all time. All time. They played They beat one playoff team this year, right? Am I right about that? Buffalo.
The Bills.
The Bills, the first time in Buffalo. It's the only playoff team they beat this year. I mean, teams that they beat that are above 500 is what? It's a short list of people.
I think 1.
So that's what you worry about a little bit. And so I'm taking the Patriots, but I do not feel terribly confident about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's going to be – I'm even surprised the spread's 3.5.
Is it 3.5?
I thought it would be closer than that.
I can understand why you like the Chargers with Matthew Berry in their fantasy show.
Yeah, I like that spread.
Right.
I think the Chargers make this a close game. I think New England will find a way to win. The question is if they can keep it going beyond this. We'll get to that in a little bit. But – the Texans at the Steelers. I didn't struggle with this one. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think this is a buzzsaw for the Pittsburgh offense.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Yes, there's a lot of things you could poke holes with the Texans offense, and they've had they're arguably the hottest team in football by the winning streak, but they've also had some moments like against the Raiders and the Colts.
Right.
They're better than that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the Steelers' offense gets through in this game.
I'm with you. I didn't have to think very much about this. Right. The only thing you worry about, I think, in this one is just C.J. Stroud, don't hold the ball too long and don't get strip sacked. Right. But I do think they'll be able to throw the football. I think they're getting better at throwing the football. Their offense has been somewhat good and really close here lately. It's gotten better. And I think a little bit of like what you talk about the defense, as we've talked about, it's a Super Bowl defense. But did they fall asleep at the wheel a little bit the last few weeks? Because, hey, we're in the playoffs. Does it really matter, right? You don't maybe play with the same type of intensity. You're going to see a Texans defense in this one that is going to go all out. They're pretty strong. So, yeah, I clearly like the Texans. I'm with you. That was one of the easier ones to pick right there.
So that takes us to the divisional round, and we had the same picks for these, so they'll line up the same.
Yeah.
We'd have the Texans traveling to Denver, as Denver has the bye week.
Right.
How do you view this game?
Well, and yeah, so we got the Texans traveling to Denver. We got the Jaguars traveling to Patriots, which is what I did not want. I don't really want to see Houston and Jacksonville in the divisional round. Because I also look at it and go, I think those two teams could go to the Super Bowl. Right? That's where I'm a little bit like, so there's a part of me in this too where I go, wait, if the Chargers win as the 7th seed, then they would go to Denver.
Denver.
The Chargers would go to Denver, right? And then we don't have the Broncos and Texans playing, right? And we got a different matchup there. I think I said that whole thing wrong right there. I think I butchered that whole thing.
The Texans would be going to...
Yeah, exactly. The Texans then would be going to the Patriots.
That's exactly right.
Right. Have I got that right?
I believe so.
I think so. Right. I think I got it right. Either way. Yes, I got it. But either way here, within this matchup, all right, we got Broncos at Texans, defensive showdown. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans here. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans over the Denver Broncos. I like Denver a lot. I guess I don't trust their offense, really, and I don't trust it in this matchup. And I really felt the first time they played that Houston was the better team on the field. That was the game C.J. Stroud got hurt early on with the concussion. And I remember thinking during that game, man, if C.J. Stroud played, they would have won this football game. And they hadn't won until like a 3rd and 18 Bo Nix scramble that got them into field goal position. You know me, I'm a believer in the Texans. I think they'll stay hot. And I think Denver with the week offs, as we've seen too, sometimes that makes people fall asleep at the wheel and get a little cozy and comfy there.
This is the one that I thought we'd finally differ on.
Right.
And because I went with the same thing.
You did.
I don't love Denver's offense.
Right.
And I don't love them against Houston. I like Denver's defense, but I love Houston's defense.
Yes.
That's the difference to me right now, where I have the Texans going to the AFC Championship game over Denver.
Denver gets a little too aggressive on the defensive side of the ball for me too at times, right? And that's where it's I don't know if that's always I feel the best about that. I think they're for as talented as they are, I think they can be a hair too aggressive. And I think now that I finally figured out what the hell I was just trying to say there. Well, yeah. I was thinking is like, the Chargers win, they go to the Broncos.
Yes, because they're the 7th
And then we'd have the Jaguars, Texans in the divisional round. I don't want to see that.
Right.
I really don't. Right. So there's a part of me, too, that I was like, did I pick the Patriots just because I don't want to see that in the divisional round? That's the point I was trying to get to as an idiot a few seconds ago.
Well, then our next game. Do you end up seeing that divisional matchup in the AFC Championship game, or do you think the Patriots beat Jacksonville?
I'm going to take Jacksonville.
So did I.
Yeah. So you got Texans, Jags, just like me.
Just like you.
Wow.
I know we are going to finally differ at some point here.
Okay.
But this side of the AFC bracket, we were eye to eye.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I look at it right now, and I just think those two teams are playing better than everybody else.
That's what it came down to me. It's nothing about how they are seated in the playoffs, but what they've looked like now for 6 weeks.
The most elite unit in the AFC is the Texans defense. There's no unit better in the AFC, either side of the ball, than the Houston Texans defense, right? So that's how I look at it. And then also in the AFC, I go, wait, I think the Jaguars have maybe the second best defense and definitely one of the best offenses. Right. So that's kind of how I viewed it, and I'm going to go with that. So, all right, we're going to pick this through here?
Yeah, we're going to finish the AFC side.
So you got Jags.
We have the same AFC Championship game.
We have the same AFC Championship game. You're taking the Jags.
I'm taking Jacksonville.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the Houston Texans.
I think the Swagwars, they got it.
I like it.
I'm buying into Mr. Duval.
Yeah.
But it's more really, like you said, about the steps the defense and the quarterback have taken.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Now, hopefully Trevor Lawrence doesn't melt at some point of this postseason, but I think Liam Cohen can game plan against anybody.
Exactly right. And they got the weapons.
You got to be able to stop the run in the NFL playoffs.
Right.
So I have Jacksonville in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think you're crazy. Listen, I certainly thought about putting them there too. Right? They're special. And like the point you brought up, Liam Cohen, they know how to play this defense a little bit. They did have a game this year where they showed they can move the ball and they kind of cracked the code a little bit on them there. So that does scare me. But yeah, I'm with you in that. I like these AFC South teams. I like the Texans. You like the Jaguars. But I certainly could see the Jaguars doing it. And I'm also like, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, sometimes I think I look at history and go, well, the last time the game was in San Francisco for the Super Bowl, the best defense in football was there, the Denver Broncos.
Right.
And this time around, it's the Houston Texans. I don't know. Maybe history repeats itself and it's Denver there again.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Right.
But I'm going to play it's the best defense gets there once again, and that is the Houston Texans for my money.
What feels so fragile to me picking Jacksonville in the Super Bowl is that they have to play Josh Allen this weekend. That's where I'm like, this could look really dumb really quick, but I'm going with it. All right, let's go to the NFC side. So we finally differed in the AFC Championship result. Chris has the Texans over the Jags. I have the Jags over the Texans. The NFC wild card.
Yeah.
Don't think we'll have a surprise here. The Rams at the Panthers.
I'm taking the Rams. I can't
too.
pick the Panthers. They've lost 3 out of their last 4. They haven't looked good in the last 2. They're going to the playoffs, losing like that. I feel like, yes, they were I know they got some bad calls last week in week 18 against the Bucs, but I thought they were clearly the lesser team on the field that day. Yeah, and I think the Rams, again, that veteran team that I don't think we can forget. Like I know we've said this a few times, but it was 30-14 with 6 minutes left in the game, and the whole country was going, well, the Rams are the best team in football. That's not even a question.
Number 1 seed.
They're the number 1 team. And then they got come back on, they lose, and then they play that dud game in Atlanta, and we all got thrown out of whack here, but I still think they're one of the best teams in the game.
So the next game is basically a pick'em. The Packers travel to Chicago. It's almost a pick'em, this game. It's a 1.5 point spread, but you look at the money line. You just take your pick. What did you think of this one?
I'm going to go Bears at home.
I did too, but I didn't feel like really great. This was kind of like the spread says, a coin flip.
Exactly. I think it is a coin flip. I think the thing that I just come away with is I don't trust a quarterback having to make a playoff start who hasn't played in 3 weeks. I think that's what bothered me with Jordan Love a little bit, right? So that's where I leaned with the Bears. And I do think Ben Johnson ripping the offense and the way they played last week will actually end up helping them this week to be on their game and maybe take a few chances and jumpstart them early on in the football game.
The final one is the Niners at Philadelphia. They're 4.5 point underdogs. Part of me really wanted to take the swing.
I'm with you.
But man, at this point of the NFL season, it is like hat on hat physicality. I just can't pick against the Eagles at home. That's the tiebreaker for me.
And if it was a healthy 49ers team, you go, okay,
they're
hat
not
on
even
hat.
Close to healthy.
Exactly. Hat on hat. They can go hat on hat with the Eagles, right? But now, like you talked about, we got the no-middle linebacker in Bethune. That's another thing that hurts. I just don't think there's enough there on the 49ers roster. They're going to be able to coach and have a little success. There was definitely a thought of me that, like, wait, maybe they can stop the run and figure out how to slow down and stop this, kind of below average Philly offense. But I also think Vic Fangio and company will be able to slow down Shanahan and the 49ers offense. I'm going to roll with the Eagles.
All right, so that brings us to the divisional round, which will have the same matchups here. The Rams would travel to Seattle.
I know, which hurt me, too, because I was like, that should be an NFC Championship game matchup.
100%.
Right.
And then the Eagles would play at Chicago.
But if the Packers win that pick'em game, right, like you talked about against the Bears, it all changes to where the Seahawks will be hosting the Packers, and then we would have the Eagles hosting the Rams, right, which would be interesting. But we don't have that, but just give everybody a little context of what would happen there.
So how are you? Let's start with the Rams over Seattle.
Yeah. I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Rams over Seattle second time. I don't like. I'm just going gut here.
Okay.
I guess what I just feel is you give the Rams another shot. Okay, the way they lost last time, veteran football team, McVay, Stafford, right? Again, a week off for the Seattle Seahawks, which I don't know is always a good thing. The Rams are one of the few teams in football. They're going to be like, what? We don't give a shit if we got to go play in Seattle.
No, they're not.
They're not going to be intimidated by it. They've been there. They've done that. They know they can have success there. So that's where I'm going to play the Rams upsetting the Seahawks on the road.
I did the same thing.
You did.
And then we have the Eagles at the Bears. I think we have the same NFC Championship.
Holy crap.
I had the Rams at Philadelphia.
You have. So do I. Yeah. So we're the same way.
Chicago, would never rule them out.
No,
the Eagles have to travel. Chicago, we talk about it, turnover-based defense. You get a couple turnovers against Jalen Hurts, you might win the game.
We saw the Bears beat them already, right? So we've seen that. We saw them beat them in Philadelphia. Yes, it's one there where I go, yeah, but again, I feel like the Eagles are clearly one of the most talented teams in football. Like you said on Monday, they are. The roster is what it is. And I also feel like there might be a part of them like we've seen with the Chiefs through a few years where it's just like,
you find
so what? It's week 12.
Yeah.
Like we're not really – our blood's not boiling over this matchup. We've been in so many bigger games, but this is the time of the year where now the blood boils and they get up and get ready to go again here. I'll take I'm going to take the Eagles to beat the Bears in Chicago to then host – the host of the NFC Championship game after Nick Sirianni is taking a lot of crap this week.
It's kind of unreal.
Right? And then he's going to get an NFC Championship game at home against the Rams, where I am going to take the Rams to pull off the upset and finally beat the Eagles there, which they had them on the ropes in divisional last year. They should have beat them this year early on in the year. I think they get it done and end up going to Super Bowl 60 in San Francisco.
A little bit of that third time's the charm.
Yeah.
I'm with you as well.
Okay.
But so you had a Texans-Rams Super Bowl.
Right.
I had a Jacksonville-Rams Super Bowl.
Yeah, either one would be good.
It'd be
Definitely.
awesome.
Yes.
It'd be awesome. And
Yours will probably be more of a shootout. I think it can be more scoring.
Yes.
Mine, I think, could end up being Texans-Rams could end up being
like 16
to
not
10. Everybody will love it.
Yeah,
Maybe 20-17, maybe something like that kind of game, right?
So after
who are you
all,
gonna take there, buddy?
I'm taking Matthew Stafford to get it
You
done.
are?
I'm
Okay.
taking Matthews. I think what we've seen with the Rams recently, which hasn't been their peak of powers.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are forgetting what they're like when they're right physically. And I think Sean
I'm with
McVay knows exactly that.
Yep.
And they look different when Devontae Adams is healthy, the offensive line is healthy, the back end of the defense is healthy. I think the Rams have the experience and the talent to win the Super Bowl.
When I said this the other day, when they play their best, the Rams and the Seahawks have been the best teams. They're the teams that have caught my eyes, right?
In a year of NFL middle of the everyone's in this huge cluster.
When they're on fire and playing their best, though, I went, "Ooh, the Rams are the best team in the sport." Right? That's the way I felt. And the AFC, it's not much different. I feel like the Jaguars, like what you've talked about, over the last 7 or 8 weeks, they got no holes. They're the most consistent. They're explosive. They can do it all. Houston doesn't totally fit that mold on both sides of the ball, only one side of the ball, but yet they're going into the playoffs with, what, a 10-game win streak, right? Is that right? Or 9 or 10? I mean, something like that. So I'm going to have the Texans pulling off the upset over the Rams.
Wow.
I am. DeMeco Ryans goes back to San Francisco and hoists a trophy. I'm going to go with it like this, in that when defenses like this get to the Super Bowl, they have 2 weeks. They get to be extra fresh. They get to really study the other offense. And more times than not, when we see these special defenses get to the Super Bowl, right? And we'll see if they can get there, because your team might be there instead. But like the Broncos or the Seahawks of 2013, right? Like the 2007 Giants that had a special front four. When you just hear all week, like Will Anderson and Dion, if you don't get to Stafford, we can't win the game. If you 2 weeks for 2 weeks, they got to hear, if you don't get to Stafford, we can't win the game. If you don't, and they're going to be as fresh as can be in the biggest game of their lives, ready to go freaking crazy.
Every rep is
That's
just nuts.
where I always feel like the great defensive teams have a little more of an advantage in the Super Bowl, right? Almost like the Philadelphia Eagles last year. If the front four can't get there to Mahomes, we can't win. If we have to start blitzing and doing that, the Chiefs are going to beat us. So that front four was like, don't blitz, Vic. We're going to kick their ass. And they never blitzed the whole freaking game and kicked their ass, right? So that's the way I feel a little bit here. So I got Texans, you got Rams. I like it. I like it.
You have 2 5 seeds in the Super Bowl. I have 1 5 seed in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Since 2002, the expansion, who are the only 2 5 seeds to reach the Super Bowl? Pete's got us some hints here. Hint number 1.
Okay, true 5 seeds. We're just saying true 5 seeds, because like the Packers of 2010 were the 6 seed and got there, right? But all right, so we're going with 5 seeds. All right,
They both won the Super Bowl.
The 5 seeds both won.
Both times they've done it, they've both won the game.
Okay, so since 2000, I'm going to say the Ravens are one of them.
They're both from the NFC.
Damn. Okay, the Ravens weren't the 5 seed there. Oh, you know what? The Ravens hosted a wild card game, so they were the 4 seed. Exactly. They beat the Broncos and Brian Griese at home in their first game. All right, so they both.
You're gonna get one of these.
I know. This is where time is of the essence. Here, they both won the Super Bowl as a 5 seed. What's this? Oh, they're both from the NFC. The Giants, 2007.
Bingo.
Okay,
I knew you'd get that one.
They went to Tampa Bay and beat Jeff Garcia. I actually was still on that Tampa Bay team, even though I was in IR, a year after my splenectomy. Okay, so 2007 Giants. Hold on now. Hold on. 2011 Giants didn't do it. It's not the Saints of 2009. Hold on. It's not the Seahawks of 13. Holy crap. It's more, so 17 is the Eagles. No, hold on. Oh,
you're heating up.
It's the Rams. No, it's not Rams of COVID year, no?
They
were the 4 seed.
You're so close. I was shocked.
Go
by
ahead.
It. The 2020 Bucks.
Oh, it's the Bucks. What, you idiot?
I didn't think they were the. I didn't think they were the 5.
Yeah, well,
that year.
they went to Washington and played Taylor Heineke. Remember?
Yeah,
and Heineke played well.
Played really well.
Right? And Chase Young was behind him like, he's the man. Remember when he scored the one touchdown? Then they went to New Orleans, and they were down 20-10 in the fourth quarter. And if you remember this, Jared Cook caught a ball about the 40 going in, and you're going, they're about to kill the Bucks. This is over. And it might have been Antoine Winfield. He punched the ball out, and the game got flipped on its head, and they won. And then, of course, they went to Green Bay and beat Aaron Rodgers. So, wow, good one. I like that, Pete. Good little note there. All right, there you go. Go ahead, put all your life savings. We put it out there. The answer key is out there. You know who's going to win the Super Bowl. Hold on. Let me just check if the NFL sent me the right one and the story of everything. Oh, yep. It's the story. They already got it in there. We got it. I work for NBC. I know the script this year. All right.
You could tell I do 3 shows with you every week this year by our brackets.
You definitely could.
Like your brain is seeped into Chris Fuchsia's brain took over, and I was like,
what?
I was like, yeah, I love the Texans.
I have that effect. I have that
it's
effect.
I was like, at first I was surprised by our brackets. I was like, no, I'm not. I sit next to Chris and listen to his takes every single week, 3 times a week.
It happens to me with Florio too. Florio the same way. And I get during the week of Florio on PFT. Sometimes I don't want to say my true thoughts because I know they're going to help dictate who he might pick, whether he even means to or not. A little bit.
It's just natural.
So it's just the way it goes. But hey, thanks again as always for driving the ship.
Man.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. The Wednesday pod, it's in the books. Thursday, Florio and I, Mega Picks pod. We're picking the playoff games. We'll have a few best bets. We'll break these games down even further. You know where to find us. Please subscribe, rate, review. And then, hey, Sunday Night Football Night in America.
Hell yeah.
We got Patriots hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll be on at 7:30 p.m. Shorter pregame show than normal because that Niners-Eagles game will be going on too. But everybody, got a great weekend coming up. College football playoff, Final Four, then the wild card weekend. All right, everybody, you know where to find us. Peace out, homies. We'll see you next time. Yo, thanks for watching, homies. We are now in the NFL season here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, game recaps, film deep dives, and much, much more.
Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, rate, review. Peace out. You know where to find us.